Hello children, today we are starting a new lesson from the diary of Anne Frank. Now from the experience of being a teacher since such a long time, I have seen students, and the main thing about students, because they are small children, is that they talk a lot in class. Okay, so some of the children are unable to just control it, and they don't do it purposefully, but it is their habit and they are unable to control it. So how a teacher reacts to this kind of habit, and how a student is punished, and what happens in the end, the whole lesson is about this. So it is going to be interesting because you can easily relate with you, yeah, and it is a kind of uh, f- problem that all the teachers go through, because what happens is that the class gets disturbed, and so the teachers get angry, but the student also doesn't want to talk, but it just comes automatically. So these are all natural things, and in this profession this is what we come across every day, right? So let us go ahead with the lesson. But before we start, we need to know something about Anne Frank. Now, one second. Okay. So, we need to know about Anne Frank. Uh, this is a special lesson, and this is a special girl who went through a lot in her life. Okay, so why that we need to see? Because Anne Frank was a Jewish girl. She belonged to Jew community. And for those who don't know, I want to tell कि Jews had to suffer at the hands of Nazi, at the hands of Hitler during the Second World War, and they were uh, killed. Millions of them were killed because they were thought to be different. There was hatred for them in the European countries, and as a result of that, the Jew families had to go in hiding. So even Anne Frank was hiding for a long time in a hidden rooms, because that was happening all over the world. So Jews also made arrangements to hide. So her father, Otto Frank, had hidden rooms in her office, and they all were living there. But somehow somebody gave the information, and they were caught, and then they were sent to the concentration camp. Now, concentration camp were the places where these people, Jew people, were kept together, thousands of them in small rooms. And like if you will search for pictures, so you will find horrific pictures, how they were made to sleep like in racks, and they were not given food. There was no facility of toilets, and it was all filthy, and how they got diseases, and how even some of them were put in gas chambers and they were killed. So it was all this horrific experience that this little girl had to go through. And then when they were sent to the concentration camp, her sister, and she also got the disease of typhus, and she died. But before that, when life was normal and life was in hiding, she was writing a diary. So this diary was found by her father after she died, and then he decided to publish that diary. So let us look at the introduction. This was written by a young Jewish girl who never thought anyone would read it. This means this was a diary that was written by Anne Frank, the Jewish girl Anne Frank. And it was just like she was a normal child, small child, and who would think that her diary would be written world over, right? So she never thought, world over to chodo, she never thought anyone would ever read it. But her father published her diary after she and other members of family died in Nazi concentration camp. father was the only survivor. Only her father, Otto Frank, survived the massacre. Massacre means killing in large numbers, done by massacre of Jews done by Hitler. So whole world wanted to know when time passed and the wars ended. So the world wanted to know, they got interested what the child must have gone through, because in a diary a person writes the thoughts. So it is a first person experience and you come to know what the person has gone through. So everybody was interested as they were in hiding and faced such horrific situations. So it became the best seller publication and got translated in various languages. So this was the bestseller. It was turned into a book, but originally it was a diary of Anne Frank. So now the part that you have been given is not about the sufferings. Okay, it is not about the sufferings in the concentration camp, because in the concentration camp she did not write. But just before that, before being sent to the concentration camp, till then, about hiding she must have written. But here you have not been given any of that thing. You have been given just a normal situation when she was leading a normal life, going to a school. So only that extract you have been given. So she might have written it in entries of many days with dates. So number of pages have been given to you together as a story. So let us look. Now first question that comes to mind is, why did Anne decide to write a diary? Why Anne decide to write a diary? Why Anne decided to write a diary? So first, she had no idea कि one can write a diary, but then she was gifted a diary on her 13th birthday. So she was told कि people write a diary and it is a good habit. So when she was gifted a diary on her 13th birthday, she got interested in it. And there was one another reason. The real reason was that Anne had no real friend to share her confidences. Now you're all young and you know how you want to tell so much. You have every day you have so much to tell to someone, but you cannot talk to everybody. You need that one real friend, your best friend. But she had no real friend to share her confidences. Confidences matlab secrets. So she wanted to talk to a real friend, so she decided to write a diary. What was the problem? She had no best friend, she had no close friend. उसको हम बोलेंगे no real friend. So she thought she would make diary her real friend, so that she could share her secrets. Secrets in the sense, secrets of small child means whatever happened, whatever her thoughts. Okay, so that she wanted to share, and so she decided to write a diary. She also thought that paper had more patience than people. Means people won't quietly listen, but paper will. Even if you have a best friend and you're trying to tell something, so he may cut you short in the middle, or so paper won't disturb you. Paper will hear you patiently because paper won't talk. So paper had more patience than people, and so she decided to write a diary. अब ये जो paper had more patience than people, this sentence is very IMP for change the degree. We have recently done it, and we will discuss it in the Zoom lecture how to change the degree. This is a you think what kind of degree is in this sentence? Paper had more patience than people. I will ask you in the Zoom lecture. Okay. So this is what she thought. Paper had more patience than people. So she thought it would be good to write a diary. And she decided to call her friend Kitty. Which friend? Her new friend, that is a diary. So she gave a name to her diary, and the name was Kitty, and started to write so as to take many things off her chest. She had so many thoughts in her mind, and she had not talked to anyone. She had not been able to talk to anyone. She had no close friend. So there was so much for her, and it was all, inside her mind. So she wanted to take it off her chest. So ये सब उसके मन में भरा पड़ा था, सब ख्याल वो हल्का करने के लिए डायरी हेल्प्ड. So let us see. First we want to also, even she wrote about her family in the beginning. She thought कि if ever anyone was got her diary and went through it and read it, so that person will not know her and maybe not understand. So she wanted to give her own brief introduction, and she even wrote about her family. So let us look at एक second. See, sometimes some mistakes we need to correct. So this is her surname, so it will be in. Okay. So Anne Frank's family. Anne was not alone. You should not think she did not have any friends, she was very lonely. It was not like that. She had loving parents, sister, aunts, 30 friends. She even had friends. It is not that she did not have friends, but she did not have any close friend. And a good home. She also had a good home. So she had a good life. Her problem was that she could only talk about general things with her friends. She did have friends, she talked to them, but she only talked about general things and lacked a real or special friend. She could not be very close to any of the 30 friends, and so she did not have a special friend. Now she tells about her family. Her father married at 36 when her mother Edith was 25. We already know the name of the father was Otto Frank and name of mother was Edith. They stayed at Frankfurt in Germany. Okay, so they stayed at Frankfurt in Germany. Later they moved to Holland, and Anne. Later they moved to Holland. Second. At Frankfurt in Germany. Later they moved to Holland, and Anne's, that apostrophe S I need to make, and Anne's sister no, here it won't be this, Anne and her. Okay, this is good. So that is the advantage of writing on computer. You can make whatever mistakes you have made, you can correct. So later they moved to Holland, and Anne and her sister Margot were sent to Aachen to stay with grandmother. First Margot joined the parents, and later on Margot's birthday Anne went to Holland. So that means the parents moved to Holland, but Anne and her sister Margot were staying with grandmother at Aachen. So difficult times must have started, and so the parents kept the children with the grandmother and went to Holland. First Margot was called, and then on Margot's birthday even Anne was called to Holland. So soon grandma underwent an operation. Now they were staying with parents, and grandmother had to undergo an operation, and next year she died. So Anne here wants to write how much she missed her grandmother and how much she loved her, and she never forgot her. So Anne has given this brief sketch of her life, so anyone who reads her diary can understand. Okay, so she gave this brief sketch of her life, so if anyone read her diary, they could understand it. First you need to understand the person, then you can understand their thoughts well. That's why. Now Anne's diary entry on June 20. on June 20, 1942 is about her school. Now, basically, this is what they have given you here in the lesson. The whole story is what happened in her school. She says that children of a class were quacking in their boots. Now, this is a idiomatic expression, and I've given you the meanings. So, the children of her class were quacking in their boots means they were all nervous. When are you all nervous? Whenever your result is to came. Whenever your result is to come. So, even they were expecting their result and they were not sure who would fail and who would pass. So they were expecting the results, and they were nervous about who would be going to the next form, means next standard. She thought half the class was dumb. She was not sure at all, and she thought half the class could fail. She and her girlfriends had no worries. She had some friends in the school also, though, and those were mostly girls. So she thought ki they had no worries. But she was only not sure of maths. Why she was not sure of maths? Let us try to find out. Mr. Keesings. Mr. Keesings, the old foggy, Mr. Keesings, the old foggy. Old foggy means what? He was old-fashioned kind of teacher. So she called him old foggy. है ना? Though was a maths teacher. She got very well. She got along very well with all her teachers except Mr. Kissing. Why? We will find out. Mr. Kissing got annoyed with her because she was very talkative. What was the problem? She was very talkative. She continued to chat, or talk in the class. So that causes a problem, no, for the teacher. Once he gave her extra homework for talking in class in spite of several warnings. He had given her several warnings, but still she kept on talking, and so he gave her a punishment. Let us see what punishment he gave. In spite of means even though he gave her several warnings, she did not stop talking, or she couldn't stop talking. She had to write an essay on a chatterbox. So what was the punishment given? He asked her to write an essay on a chatterbox. She did it very well by giving several arguments about necessity of talking. Now look how she did it. She was not ashamed कि she had been given a punishment. But what she did, she presented several arguments why talking was necessary. She argued that talking was an inherited trait. Trait means quality passed on genetically from parents, and that she got her from her mother. She told that her mother was very talkative, and so she was also very talkative. So she gave a real argument. So let us see how Mr. Keesings took it. So here, okay. So next day she had completed the homework given that was actually a punishment. Next day Mr. Keesing had good laugh at her arguments. She continued talking through the lesson. She did not improve. She wrote the essay on chatterbox, but she even kept on talking. So again he assigned her second essay, an incorrigible chatterbox. Incorrigible means unrepairable, thing that cannot be corrected. Okay, so incorrigible is also important for your meanings. She wrote that too. That one also she completed, but she could not control her talking habit. She did not improve. Mr. Keesing had finally had enough. Now he was very angry, couldn't tolerate anymore. He gave her a punishment to write another essay. And the topic was quack, 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 said Mistress Chatterbox. Everyone laughed at Annie, and Annie had exhausted her ingenuity means original ideas. Her ingenuity was exhausted, finished. यहाँ पे क्या, as it is been exhausted means tired, but here we have to take the meaning as finished. She had finished her ideas, her originality. She had written the essay on the same topic twice, so she had no idea what to write now. But a friend Sanne, who was good at poetry, suggested that they write it together. So her friend offered to help her in, and she suggested that they write it in form of a poetry. So now, in a new way, she wrote it. She knew Mr. Kissing was playing a joke on her. To play a joke is to make someone feel dumb or put someone in trouble. So he was trying to play a joke on her, but she would make sure it was on him. So she wrote it in a different way. She finished the poem and it was beautifully written. It was about a mother duck, a father swan, and three baby ducklings, bitten to death for quacking too much. Can you imagine? Sometimes the elders go too far and give too much punishment. So that's why she wrote this kind of poetry. Luckily, Mr. Kissing saw her talent and took the joke in right way. He did not get angry. He even encouraged her by reading the poem to the class and several other classes. So from that point of time, Mr. Kissing's attitude changed. He stopped punishing her and he started making jokes in the class. So this is how the teachers and the students need to get along and enjoy also in the class. So he started enjoying and started making jokes in the class. So making students laugh is also equally important because they are innocent, right? Now hope कि you also enjoyed the lesson. Please read it and we are going to stop here.